Hello and welcome to another Top 20 challenge. Today we are in Japan at Mount Asama and we are going to be setting a top 20 score with every single car class in the game. So that goes from Group 2 to Group A, the fastest group, and all the four special car classes that there are. I chose this track because it's a very fun one, really. It starts off with a couple of really tight hairpins up the hill. It's important to keep some speed if you can. Yeah, and you'll really see how much faster we just barrel up this hill every time we go up one car class. So that's quite satisfying as well. I started off with the Porsche because it's really nice handling. Oh, and this corner is so tricky. I've many a run has ended there because you go over this crest as you make the worst part of the corner. So it's quite a tricky corner there. Um, and yeah, the Porsche just handled really well. I think it's the only rear-engined car in that car class, and because it just behaved really well, and the car class is quite slow, so you don't make so many mistakes usually. It was pretty easy to set a good time. I think it took like 3 tries, and then we could move on to the next one. For Group 3, I decided to also go for the Porsche. It looks a little bit different with the roof rack and everything, but it's essentially the same car with a little bit more power, and it handles just as nicely. So it kind of felt like I was driving the same car, just ever so slightly faster. And I think that helped a lot because I set my time first try, and then we could move on to the next class, which is Group 4, which I was dreading a little bit because the last time I tried this, I was on a track where setting a good time in a Group 4 car was really hard. Setting a good time wasn't so hard, but there were just a lot of people that had also done that, so getting onto the top 20 in the leaderboard, that's the problem. But actually, in this case, it wasn't so bad. Just a few tries in the Volvo, which is obviously my favorite car. Yeah, it wasn't so much a problem, so I was quite surprised. I thought we were getting off lightly, but there is a reason that recording this stuff took just about 2 hours. Yeah, and sadly, the reason is Group B. In this case, it was Group B that we should have feared. For now, I just want to show the end of this race because you can see that corner just there with the snowplow on the left. That is such a dangerous corner. It was so easy to hit that one if you're trying to set a good score. And the whole run is quite technical and has quite a lot of sharp corners. And then this ending part is just so fast, and these jumps, they make it quite dangerous. So yeah, just want to show you the end of that track. With that, we got an 18th, and now it's time for Group B. Because the Porsches have been doing so well, I thought, you know what, I'll try the all-wheel drive Porsche that is in Group B. However, it seemed a little bit slow through these very tight hairpins. So I kind of started trying to like make the corners really short because it just took a long time before it would get turned, and it wasn't the best through this horrible corner either. So after like 15 minutes of trying this one, I kind of gave up. As you see there. I actually ended up trying the van. There's a van in Group B, which was much more composed through that corner, the horrible crest one. And it actually could take these kind of corners rather well, which I was surprised by, but I mean, the times weren't good enough. So what we did was we got out the big guns and we got out our Group B Mean Machine, the Das Hammer V3, I think it's called. It's the one that you find on the leaderboards in every single Group B event, really. But that did not mean we would get onto the top 20 all that quickly. Like it still, even with this car, which is kind of my trump card, like one of the best cars there. Um, it still took like another 20 minutes before I would get a run that I was actually happy with, and that actually got me into the top 20. I had set some laps that I was really happy with before that, but they just didn't that didn't reflect in the leaderboard apparently. So yeah, this took a while, but we made it. We made it through. On to Group S, a little bit faster, basically the same. And because I had now gotten so used to this track and I knew kind of where to push and where to be careful, it really wasn't a big deal to set a good time with this one. The competition on this one was a lot less intense. There were way fewer people that had set a good score in Group S. compared to Group B. So this was actually my first try in Group S after having gone so used to the track and knowing how to ride it with an all-wheel drive power machine. It really wasn't such a big deal, which felt a little bit silly because I had just spent like more than 45 minutes on Group B. But yeah, that's nice. We got through. And for Group A, that was actually a fairly similar story. I could use my favorite car, from this class at least, the Subaru, and yeah, it just drove well and it went really quite nicely. Just got it to the end. It's not entirely true, actually. I did manage to crash once in that horrible corner with the snowplow that I talked about earlier. It's really quite treacherous, that corner. You feel like you can turn in a lot more than you should. So my second try, I stay way wide of it and just finish out the stage. And yeah, it's really fast through this last section, and it's quite dangerous there because if you end up yeah taking a jump and going onto the grass or something, it can lose you a lot of time. But none of that was too bad, and we made it through. So, moving on to the last four classes, the ones that are ever so slightly silly. And because they are ever so slightly silly, not a lot of people have set times here, so I would make this top 20 challenge a bit more of a top 5 challenge, trying to get into the top 5. Um, with the vans, I actually got quite motivated to set a good time, and I tried quite a few times, and in the end got a third place, which I was pretty happy with. Like in these classes, if you try a few times, you actually have a chance of getting a world record because there might just not be so many people who have tried. But in this case, it seemed that the vans actually did have some competition going on. So third place it would be, and I was pretty happy with that actually. The last time I tried the tri-wheeler, I couldn't really be bothered to drive it because it was a little bit annoying. But I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give this another try, and I'm just gonna try to be a little bit more careful because I mean, with the three wheels, it's quite easy for it sort of to start tipping over. So if you are a little bit careful on the steering, then maybe you can keep it upright, and with a little bit more care and love to this little tri-wheeler, I could actually set a world record with this. Once again, because no one else tried, probably. But still, it was actually quite fun. And it wasn't a beautiful run, as you can see there. But yeah, no, it was fun to drive, actually. Now, with the car truck, it was surprisingly capable on this track. Like, it for some reason, just turns in really well. I can't really explain it, but it like if you slow down enough, if you're going too fast, it might understeer a little bit. But if you slow down enough, then suddenly it just starts steering so well. It just starts gripping and going. I don't know. It was actually quite fun to drive, and all of these hairpins is kind of where it lived its best life. So it was kind of yeah, it was fun, and it went really well. And last but not least, of course, the trusty logging truck. This one a lot slower, a lot bigger and heavier, so you kind of want to straight line anything you can. So whenever you could cut something, you try to cut it a little bit, and yeah, just slowly make your way through the course. It actually power slides a little bit here, like yeah, and you can do that without losing time, which is interesting. Like it feels quite interesting to drive, and it's quite fun. And a lot more tactical in a way, because you have to make the best out of all of your opportunities, which I don't here clearly. Like a small mistake like that can cost you a lot of time. But then we weren't going for any world record. We were just gonna try to get in the top 5 here. We avoid the snowplow there, and we send it over one of these jumps here. Not really though, because these logging trucks are not capable of taking jumps. Which is actually why I would rather show you the end of the run with the Dakar truck, because that one you can push. It's big, it's heavy, but you can actually really push it, and it will fly over those jumps just fine, and soak them up, and yeah, not have any trouble with those. It was really fun to drive that one around the last part as well. So yeah, on to the results. The logging truck was not very fast, so it took 3 minutes 25, whilst the car truck was much faster, 2:55. And that was fourth place. We got first place with the tri-wheeler, over 3 minutes though. I mean, it's not a very fast vehicle. Wouldn't call it a car. With the vans, we got a third place, also over 3 minutes actually. Not so different from the tri-wheeler, funnily enough. Now the fastest class, 2:28, 16th place. Pretty happy with that. Uh, 12th place for Group S. Again, really quite fast. And actually faster in Group B, because that one was the one where we really had to push to get a good score. But we got into the top 20 there too. The Volvo wasn't so much of a problem, 18th place, and a 14th place in Group 3 with the Porsche, and another Porsche for Group 2, setting a 6th place. So that was a pretty good run. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you join me next time. Bye bye.